Hello guys, welcome back to the crew Waldron driving all cars part number 40. And in this case, just like in the previous video, it's not a car that we are driving but a bike. The Ducati Monster, that's what we are looking at here in full stock. But it also has a few specs. Not that many though, just like the Diavel, only two. The Diavel has performance and circuit. This Monster is a street and a performance one. This is sorta, well, I probably will call it part 40A, because there will be a part 40B. I'm not sure when they are going to release it, but with the summer update they announced two new specs for this bike. If I'm not mistaken, it will be a dirt spec and a circuit spec, but they are not in the game yet, so I can't test them, and I sorta have this series planned already. I know which part is going to be which car and which, so it was time to cover the Diavel and the Monster this time. I didn't wait for the extra specs, so I will probably when they come out with it, I will do a 40B testing the dirt and the circuit spec for this bike, but at this moment it only comes in street and performance. For the summer updates, for those who don't know yet, the first one of those updates arrived yesterday. The KTM Super Duke is also available in circuit spec now. You can get that spec, and it's pretty good. It can be used next to the BMW, Kawasaki and Ducati Diavel in circuit. And then the next summer update will probably be the raid spec for the Rough RT. And then after that they will come with the two new specs for this Ducati Monster. The street spec in red, it is a Ducati. I kinda go with the official colors: Ducati red, Kawasaki green, BMW blue, KTM orange. That's how I do things, and it's not differently with the bikes. Official colors and official rims. So, street spec. 1 mile drag race. That's what we're going to do here. Acceleration test, sorta. First checkpoint, hit a full nitro bar at the quarter mile, that is. Let me take a quick look. We have the Skyline with a 25.7 as the fastest car, and that kind of smoked the other street specs, because most of the street specs are 26 and 27 seconds. Do we have a bike to compare that we have tested already? Yes, we have tested the BMW 1200 in street spec, and that did a 26.1. I am assuming that this is going to be faster though, because it's probably next to the KTM in street spec. It's probably the best bike, although the KTM will be a bit better, but I still have to I don't have a timer for that yet, because I still have to do that later on. At one point we switched to cars that have a drag spec, and I covered those, but now I'm back to the alphabetic order, sorta. Meanwhile, we have a 25.621. That is the fastest time in street spec that we have done. 1/10 faster than the Skyline even, and the Skyline kinda smoked the other cars and bikes. So the Monster does exactly the same. Best acceleration in street spec. Will it be broken? The 25.6? Who knows? Maybe there will be one or two going faster, although well, maybe the KTM, but I'm not sure. We'll see. The performance spec, here we have tested the BMW 1000 with 23.9, and in the previous video the Diavel with a 22.9. That was a second faster than the BMW. We'll see. Seems to be, well, it has a speed. It's going towards 350. Some of the cars here only do 340 at the finish. 23.9. That is sort of average for performance, and it is comparable with the BMW. 23.952 for the BMW. 23.920 for the Monster. 1 second slower than the Diavel though. So going from the acceleration, it's a bit mixed. It's average in performance and top of the bill in street, acceleration wise. So yeah, I guess it is a plus for the street spec, but not really for the performance one, the acceleration. Now let's see if we can find some minuses, and for that we have to find the street spec again, and there it is, and throw it around our little track. Now for the bikes, this is probably not the best track that I created here, but yeah, I started this series with this as a free drive challenge, but stepped away from the free. I just drive over the track now, because sometimes I get stuck in a black screen, and so I leave the free drive challenge be, and I just decent response, although the Diavol seemed to well react faster to our input, but then again that only has a performance and a circuit spec, so this is a street. Brakes seems to be okay, not like the Diavol where they were sort of a minus, were not that good. But it also suffers a bit from the April patch bike handling. That means you really have to slow down too much compared to cars to take pretty sharp corners like the previous one and like this one. I have to go down to second gear to get through this corner. That was not the case before the April patch. They were kinda OP, the bikes. In street spec, best bike was the KTM, but this was not far behind. And they were really kinda smoking the cars. That's not the case anymore. Nevertheless, we can't really rule them out. Not on a track like this, because then the cars will definitely win if we're gonna do some sort of time attack here. But if you get tracks with longer straights, then you really have to consider the bikes. There was a free drive challenge for the crew social. I posted that video on my channel. The crew challenge with 2 weeks challenge sort of our Facebook page, and the requirement was to use a street spec. Had to be a solo run and using a street spec. Those were the requirements. Other than that, you could shortcut, and of course you had to pass the checkpoints. It was a 20-kilometer run, and most people went for the car, and I decided to go for the KTM bike. In the end, because of my own mistake, I lost the challenge, but I had the best time several times. Someone improved the time, then I improved again with my KTM bike, although it works like this, that you have to post a picture of your result screen if you have beaten the best time, so that the competition can keep going. So we post a picture of the result screen, but I only made a picture of the time, not showing the bike, so people were not aware of what I was driving. The deadline was August 15th, so I posted that video on my channel. But yeah, time zones and all that. And I made the mistake of posting the video too early. So I kinda shown the fact that I was driving with the bike, and I also showed my route. And then someone else copied my route and did 2 or 4 seconds faster, something like that. So in the end, because of my own mistake, I lost the challenge. But still good enough for second place and best on PC. Meanwhile, it is a pretty decent bike, this one, in street spec. But unfortunately, on a twisty little track like we have here, you have to slow down too much. And it also has an extra problem, and that is that compared to other street spec, as well cars as bikes, it's lacking a few kilometers an hour top speed, which is a bigger problem. It's not going to be the problem with the KTM bike. That one has the top speed, and that's That's why the KTM is probably the best bike in street spec, if you have to go for a bike. This one is better than the BMW though. BMW 1200 is more, well, of a cruiser, and it's more suitable for dirt and raid, I guess, and that's not really the case with this one. We already know from the acceleration test that the performance spec of this bike, well, it might not be that bad, but the Diavel is better in performance. So we have two Ducatis in performance. I would just go for the Diavel there. In street spec though, this is a pretty good thing. It's faster than the BMW 1200 for sure, and better handling as well. But we are dealing in street spec with another bike, being the KTM 450, and that one is just a bit better. But yeah, you can't always use the same bike. And yeah, well, you kind of feel that this one has a slow acceleration when you drive it around. The handling is kind of okay though. Biggest reason for that is that you're not going that fast, and you have to slow down so much in the corners. And if you go slower, then it's easier to handle, of course, than if you go fast. 300, we are in the performance spec meanwhile, so we are looking for a top speed of around 400 on this section, because that's what the cars are doing, or at least the better ones. 380 something, yeah. We had a little bit of drift coming from the jump, so probably 390 something, and yeah, just like in the street spec, a few kilometers an hour short compared to other bikes and cars. Of course, it's a bike, so you can go under planes and dodge traffic easily, and that is definitely a plus. Since it is way smaller than a car, of course. So I would say plus the acceleration for the street spec, since it's the fastest we tested so far. But it lacks a bit of speed, that's kind of a minus. So for this bike, the Ducati Monster, almost made a mistake there, best use is the street spec. We will have a hard time beating the KTM, but still it's not that bad in street spec, this bike. That was it for part number 40. We are sort of halfway. We have, like I said, I made the planning. There are 83 parts coming in this series, and it's probably mostly for newbies that I'm doing this series, since I have less views than on my summit videos, but nevertheless, for those who are watching the series, I will finish it. If I start something, I finish it, so I will come up with 83 parts to start with, which are the bikes and cars in this game at the moment. From that moment on, if something new comes up, I will also make some sort of video like this to get the complete edition, sort of. I will see you guys in the next one, and bye for now.